Welcome everyone to BSC News Live. That intro, it seems to stop very quickly, so I'm actually going to maybe change the music a bit, just so it has a nice reverb tail or something, or a decaying delay or something. I don't know. Anyway, thank you very much for tuning in, everyone. Great to have you here again. I hope you've all had a wonderful weekend. There's been no huge news this weekend in the crypto space. However, there's been quite a lot of activity, particularly in the NFT world, from Blur, from OpenSea, and we've also got some updates as well from a new layer 2, another layer 2 from Coinbase called Base, which we're going to look into, going over an article that BSC News published, and we highlight some of the builders on that chain. So yeah, nothing huge, as in there's no massive price action. There hasn't been another FTX, which is good. But yeah, things seem to be changing. Sort of people's ideas, particularly around NFT trading, royalties, is shifting, and it's very interesting. I question, to an extent, did it all come from DeGods? I don't know. But I always think, was that the catalyst that sort of started this whole royalties discussion and, what's going on now? I think it was bound to happen sooner or later, but, was that the event that started it all off? Anyway, first things first, let's have a quick look at Bitcoin. I'm just going to take this Fibonacci channel off. So we're still sort of in this range. So we've been in this range for a while. At the moment we're trading at 23,300, which is fine. There's been no major volatility, and volatility is quite low at the moment. We haven't seen any huge jumps recently. Obviously, we had a little bit of a drop on Friday, and we're working our way back up slowly. At the end of last week, during last week, we were in this. I'm just going to hold on. Get my brush. We were sort of in this channel here. And trading around here. Then we dropped out the bottom of it, but it looks like we might have worked our way back up to it. There was a nice bounce just now, coming back into the channel. And will we stay in it? Who knows? But yeah, these are some levels perhaps to look out for. If we do drop below this level again, and then hold on a second. I'm just going to get my brush. So if we do drop below this level, then come back up here, then reject again, perhaps we can expect to end up sort of down here at 21,300, but that's just going off previous support and resistances. But yeah, who knows what's going to happen. If you're watching now, please do say hello in the chat. If you're watching on YouTube, fantastic, just type there. If you're watching on Twitter, Twitch, Rumble, Trovo, wherever you are, just say hello. Where you're watching from, what platform, that sort of thing. It would be great to hear from you. Another piece of information, news updates that's quite important now. So on the BNB chain at the moment, there are some wallets which seem to have been exploited. I don't know how it's happened, what's gone on, but a couple of my friends who are, not crypto noobs by any means, they're very, I like to think of them as aficionados, that, they know what they're doing. Their wallets are slowly being drained, not necessarily of BNB, but of other sort of altcoins, alternative tokens. So make sure you're in the habit of, or you start being in the habit of revoking permissions of the contracts that you're or granted access to. Often in a swap, say with PancakeSwap, for example, when you sign a transaction there, you'll give them you'll give them permission to spend an unlimited amount of the token that you're swapping. This can be good because in the future you don't have to sign anything again, but to an extent, if it was a different site that copied the PancakeSwap's contracts, that sort of thing, it could be bad news. So what you can do, there's this website that I'm on now. It's just revoke.cash, and I'm actually just going to put this up as a little ticker. So, good. So, whoa, I'm really small now. Okay, so right down there. Yeah, so that's used up an unnecessarily large amount of space. So revoke.cache, make sure you use that. And what that'll do, that'll revoke any contracts that you've given access to. And that's very, very important. So I revoked probably about 70 just now. And do get in the habit of doing that. And don't leave contracts sort of that you've allowed access to open for too long, or longer than necessary. Also, if you're swapping, say, on PancakeSwap or similar, what you can do, instead of allowing an unlimited spend, you can customize the amount that it has access to, so you're only allowing the contract access to that specific amount. So instead of an unlimited amount of funds. So that website, once again, is revoke.cache. If you've got any questions at all, though, do type in the chat or let us know. Comment here, comment on the if you're watching it later, or send us a message, whatever. But yeah, revoke.cache. There are quite a few other websites that offer this service. For example, Everise, they offer EverRevoke, I think it's called. Beefy Finance also offer a service which pretty much does the same thing. But the one that I use, that I've just used as well, it seemed to be good, is revoke.cache. I haven't found one yet that does a bulk revoke, because that would be very, very useful. Because at the moment, I need to go through every transaction or every contract, and it does take quite a long time, but it is worth it in the long run. Anyway, moving on. So I'm just going to share a tab quickly. And once again, I don't use dark mode, because when I use dark mode, everything goes black. The text stays black, so everything stays black. So that's why I'm not using dark mode. I explained that before. I would love to use dark mode, but I don't know why it doesn't work. So this is from OpenSea. This is about 10 days ago or so. Yeah, a lot of sort of NFT communities are, talking about this, but the NFT sort of ethos behind royalties certainly is shifting. And there's a big discussion currently happening. If you're into NFTs, I'm sure you're aware. Type a comment if you are, let us know. So I'm just going to go through this from OpenSea. So firstly, we're making some big changes today. OpenSea fee, 0% for a limited time, moving to optional creator earnings, 0.5% minimum for all collections without on-chain enforcement, old and new. Marketplaces with the same policies will not be blocked by the operator filter. So I'll just keep on reading just to give it a bit of context, and also sort of explain it a little bit. So moving on to context. Thank you, OpenSea. There's been a massive shift in the NFT ecosystem. In October, we started to see meaningful volume and users move to NFT marketplaces that don't fully enforce creator earnings. For example, Magic Eden. Do correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that might have been one of the first ones with what I said earlier with the D-Gods collection. But if I am wrong with that, please do correct me. Anyway, today that shift has accelerated dramatically despite our best efforts. So them saying despite our best efforts, it seems as though they're taking the side of royalties should be enforced, should happen. Anyway, 3, we've worked to defend creator earnings on all collections when others didn't. And when we introduced the operator filter, it was our belief that on-chain enforcement was the best way for creators to secure their revenue stream from the ongoing resale of their work. 4, we thought we could catalyze widespread enforcement of creator earnings, and we hoped others might come up with more resilient solutions. This has not happened. 5, recent events, including Blur's decision to roll back creator earnings even on filtered collections, and the false choice that they're forcing creators to make between liquidity on Blur or OpenSea, prove that our attempts are not working. We're going to get onto Blur shortly. OpenSea 6. Today, 80%, around 80% of total ecosystem volume does not pay full creator earnings. And the majority of volume, even accounting for inorganic activity, has moved to a zero fee environment. And there's the source for that. And there's a few more as well. Actually, I'm just going to quickly read these because it doesn't look as though it goes on too long. While we continue to uphold on-chain enforcement through the operator filter, we're moving to a different fee structure that reflects the needs of today's ecosystem. First and foremost, we're dropping OpenSea fee to 0% for promotional period of time. Second, we're moving to a minimum 0.5% creator earnings model with the option for sellers to pay more. This applies to all collections that do not use on-chain enforcement, old and new. Third, we're updating the operator filter to allow sales using NFT marketplaces with the same policies, including Blur, as they make good on their promise. Now, creators won't have to make the false choice between receiving earnings on OpenSea or Blur. This is the start of a new era for OpenSea. We're excited to test this model and find the right balance of incentives and motivations for all ecosystem participants, creators, collectors, and power buyers and sellers. 12, stay tuned for more info as we continue exploring ways to reward our most loyal users. So these decisions, to an extent, have had a knock-on effect. We're going to get onto Blur in just a moment and sort of what's been happening in the NFT ecosystem. Recently, we actually, some of these people that I'm going to quote now, we had on the show, we've had on the show, as well as Twitter Spaces recently as well. So Luca Netz, he says, this is going to have the opposite effect on what you want it to have. And then Jeebus says, only a token can save them now anyway. What is Blur? So this is Blur. So Blur is an NFT marketplace aggregator. So essentially, you can trade through there, and it aggregates a number of NFT marketplaces to this one platform. And what is quite unique about it from a user interface perspective is that it's really set up for essentially trading, NFT flipping, trading, and trying to make money on NFTs, not necessarily holding it, being part of the community. If we click on one, let's Sappy Seals, floor price 107. Okay, yeah, I thought it'd be higher than that. Okay, cool. I mean, yeah, I said I thought it would be higher than that because I remember seeing it at around one, maybe a month ago or so, and thinking, oh, that's going to be higher around now. But it's good that it's held up a 1F floor price. If we click on that collection, we can see. For example, the sales in the last 30 days, they've pretty much all been above 1 Ethereum, and we can see that the general trend for them as well. So the 1-day trend, sort of moving upwards, and then we can go on the 30-day as well. And you can get a lot of analytics from there as well, as you can see just on the screen. Floor price, top bid, 1-day change, 7-day change, that sort of thing. And obviously you can filter the collection as well. What you can do as well, if you're more into collecting the NFTs as a community member and having the NFTs for yourself and not trading them, not flipping them, and just holding them, you can switch to collect, where you get a bigger view of the NFT graphics. Like that. There you are. Good. So this is Blur, and this is blur.io. What we're going to do now is switch to a few analytics. So this is from Delphi Digital, who produce a number of analytics and graphs, that sort of thing, mainly about crypto, but specifically here about NFTs. So we can see here sort of that Blur, where it says, percentage of total market volume across major NFT aggregators since August 2022. Blur has by far the most volume. It really, really took off at the end of last year. And there are a number of reasons for this, and there are sort of pros and cons around this, which we'll get onto in just a moment as well. But it's all quite interesting. And so the next chart as well. Here we go. Good, it's showing. So Blur grows to become the largest NFT marketplace. So volume market share of NFT marketplaces since October 2022. So this is the end of last year, basically up to today. So Blur is down the bottom, the orange, then OpenSea is the blue. And as you can see, Blur is getting larger and larger, larger market share. So I was in a few Twitter spaces. I think it was... it was yesterday evening. Yeah, today's Monday. It was like a Sunday evening NFT Twitter Spaces. I went in a few of them, and both of them were talking about Blur. And from a community perspective, they didn't really like what was happening. And then that's understandable to an extent. If you have a community-focused NFT project and you want people to hold and be part of that community, you don't necessarily want people just to be, selling, buying your NFTs quickly, just to make a quick buck. However, having that volume within that collection brings your collection, higher rankings on Blur, for example, and having more volume within your collection, gets more eyes on your collection. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword. Flipping NFTs, perhaps not, what a lot of community members want to see, but it does bring more attention to the NFT collection. Moving on. So there's a lot of analytics from Delphi Digital. So 2 seconds. I'm just going to bring up this tab. So there's a very good article that Delphi wrote. That Delphi have explaining their analytics, basically. So here, smaller number of traders make larger trades on Blur. And I'm just going to quickly try and bring up a tweet I found about it. Because it shows that a very small number of wallets are making by far the most trades. So, and that shows that there's a lot of wash trading going on. So with low fees, like OpenSea have recently stated, with 0% listing fees, and then obviously, a lot of marketplaces offering optional creator royalties, essentially, trading now for NFTs is free. So what a lot of people have been doing is creating false volume by wash trading. So that's just selling, buying very quickly, not, quantum quickly, but, not losing that much money at all, really, and creating essentially false volume on a marketplace. And they do this for a number of reasons, perhaps, firstly, maybe to get more eyes on the collection, but next is Blur's airdrop system. So I'm just going to switch back to Blur. So what Blur do, if we go on airdrop here, you can get an airdrop from them, and this works. Well, it's a quite a unique mechanic, but essentially the more you trade on the platform, the higher chance and the better airdrop you could get. So that's what a lot of people are trying to do as well. Have lots of volume on Blur, so they get a nice airdrop from them. So yeah, there's a lot of discussion around it at the moment. I know that it's quite, perhaps a complex subject, and I've said a lot sort of in the past 10-15 minutes. If you've got any questions at all about it, do type in the chat. Or, if you're up for coming on and speaking about it, let me know. And yeah, we can get you on screen, like a little picture of you, like I'm here, but you. What do you think about that? Anyway, yeah, that's Blur. And the whole sort of shape of NFT royalties and the ethos around that is changing, as you can see here. Anyway, enough about NFTs for the time being. Okay, 2 seconds. The next thing that we're going to discuss is a new layer 2. Another layer 2, you say? Well, yes, and this time from Coinbase. Interesting. Obviously, we're BSC news, BNB chain, Binance, that sort of thing. But we don't just do Binance, You can think of perhaps BSC, not as meaning, Binance Smart Chain, but Binance, Solana, and Kronos. Or, as we said in the previous stream, Brilliant Solana chain. Anyway, so I'm just going to quickly share this tweet from Coinbase. So this is on, about a week ago now. No, 5 days, February the 22nd. So it was quite cryptic, but yeah, that little sort of blue circle, and all the tweet was this. And that's it. Interesting. And what is that? Well, it's called Base chain. It's layer 2 EVM based blockchain, and there are a number of projects currently building on that chain as well, which we'll explore in just a moment. So this is from Coinbase. So introducing Base, I'll just read a couple of excerpts. So we've sort of got a little bit of background about what Base is. So too long, didn't read. Base is a secure, low-cost, developer-friendly Ethereum Layer 2 built to bring the next billion users to Web3. Start building on Base testnet today and stay tuned for the upcoming mainnet launch. So, pretty much all Layer 2s say, low cost, fine, developer-friendly. One thing that they often say as well is scalable. That's a classic key phrase that we often hear. However, it's the first time that I've seen it's built to bring the next billion users to Web3. So what they're trying to do is, shepherd in mass adoption, basically. And if they do pull this off with a billion users using Base chain, Base network, that could be huge. So it's certainly worth keeping an eye out. So obviously the testnet is live, and yeah, we're staying tuned for the mainnet. We've recently written an article about the different projects that are building on Base, and there's a lot already, very impressive projects as well. So we've got hold on, I'll just open this image in a new tab. So these are a number of projects. You might recognize a few that are currently developing, building on Base. Some of them are exclusive to Base, and some of them are established projects that are incorporating Base. For example, we can see there SushiSwap, Magic Eden, and a number of others as well. I'm just going to go back to the article now. So the article can be accessed if you just go on bsc.news, and yeah, perhaps just type in Base and you'll get to it. But we'll have a look at some of the projects. So first one, Gelato. A couple of these are not 100, well, they're not really geared towards the retail user. But we'll go through, a whole spectrum just to, get a good overview of what Base could and is going to hopefully be. True, Ducal. Yeah, man. Yeah. It's certainly worth keeping an eye on. Yeah. I don't know 100%, what it's going to be like, the mainnet. But like like a lot of Layer 2s, they're all very similar-ish. But if they do manage to pull off getting a billion users in, that would be very, very impressive indeed. But yeah, the project's building on at the moment. So first one, Gelato, so Web3's decentralized backend. So this is obviously geared towards backend developers. So use cases. So here again, it starts to get a bit technical. So harvesting yield farming vaults. So we've got Beefy Finance there, as well as quite a lot of others. Updating TWAP, TWAP, Cardi B oracles. Gasless cross-chain asset bridging. That is very useful. And I think that symbol there is, they've changed. No, sorry. I think it's called like Connect or Connection. But yeah, they've rebranded a few times. And there we can see PancakeSwap, fantastic. Mad Meerkat Finance, brilliant. So there are a number of things that Gelato does. Limit orders on AMMs, automatic market makers. Then moving across to the next one. This one is called blackbird.xyz. This again, yeah, I'm not 100% sure what they do, but I wanted to give you a nice sort of overview of who is currently building on Base. I'm just going to quickly read an excerpt. So we are Blackbird Labs, established in 2022 in New York City. We believe the next great hospitality technology platform should connect restaurants and their customers directly in meaningful and ongoing ways. We'll partner with some of the world's best restaurants to bring these enduring relationships to life, and we'll use cutting-edge software to do it. So incorporating sort of Web3 in the hospitality industry. I'm not sure how it's going to work, what's going to happen, but again, should be very, very interesting. Next one, moving on. This one's Socket, powering truly multi-chain apps. Cross-chain or interoperability is certainly important as we move forward in Web3. And Socket, their catchphrase, powering truly multi-chain apps. Next one, I'm just going to start sort of going through these a little bit quicker. The Web3 data warehouse. So this is a company called Coherent. Empower your Web3 analytics and business intelligence with coherent, seamless access to decoded and enriched blockchain data at your fingertips. Here we are. It looks like a sort of Excel type. Well, I mean, obviously there's a table there. Will it be similar to SQL and a database, perhaps, where you have queries, tables, that sort of thing? I'm not sure. But it would be good to have a database system that is based on Web3, because at the moment there's a lot of Web3 front end, but then the back end is just basically all SQL or Amazon AWS or something. So yeah, again, this looks promising. Coherent.xyz. Moving on. Again, this is flipsidecryptos.xyz. Yeah, so this is on-chain data. And again, they're building on Base. And again, I'm just going to quickly go through a few more. I'm not sure how to pronounce this. Covalent, as in covalent bonds in chemistry. I think that's correct. So yeah, this is another project building on Base, but there are loads. If you go to our article on bsc.news, you'll be able to see sort of the highlights of projects building there. So Gelato, Blackbird, Socket, Coherent, Flipside, Block Daemon, Mnemonic, Covalent, Etherscan, Block Scout, Dune, The Graph, Wormhole, QuickNode, Covalent. I don't really know what that means, but yeah, I'll put a link to the article in the chat. But there we go. That's quite a few different projects building on Base at the moment. So just a quick recap of a couple of bits from today. Firstly, at the moment, a couple of my friends' wallets are being exploited sort of as we speak. Their tokens, unfortunately, are being drained. They've tried what they can, but make sure. Thank you. I thought you were typing in some random language, like, oh yeah, oh that's covalent. But okay, right. Thank you very much. Thank you. So firstly, revoke any contracts that you've got open. This website that I've used, revoke.cash. Before this stream, I revoked probably around 70 that I'd still had an unlimited spend approval with. So it's good to be in the habit of revoking permissions there. Next, we looked at Blur and the changing landscape of NFT royalties. I mean, would you pay royalties? There's very, very few projects that I'd actually pay royalties on. I think probably 2 or 3. They've been optional on the platforms that I use for quite some time, and 9 times out of 10, I will not pay royalties. I mean, why would you? If you had the option, if you're trading Bitcoin, to not pay a fee, you wouldn't pay it. But I understand it's completely different a lot of the time with NFTs. Yeah. And then we looked at, lastly, Coinbase, Base Chain, Base Network, which should, promises to be very exciting. And the link for the projects that we looked at are in the comments here. But thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. And True Ducal, thanks for your comments as well. Really, really appreciated. Hope to see you here tomorrow, 5 p.m. UTC. If you'd like us to look at particular, a specific subject or project or anything, let us know. But once again, everyone, thank you very much for tuning in. If you've got any questions whatsoever, do leave a comment, send us a message, and we'll be more than happy to look into it. Anyway, au revoir, everyone. Take it easy, and obviously trade safe. Do not invest more than you can lose.